What's up, fam? It's been a minute. What is up, fam? It is Shar, and welcome to Living Color, where I provide quick tips and experiences on law school and everything law related to people of color. It's been so long, I didn't even remember my intro. Just to hop right into things, I did well my 1L year. Well enough to land me a summer associate position in a firm that I was gunning for, so I was very excited about that. I had a great summer. I learned a ton. I learned so much. I actually learned what practice area I wanted to enter going into my career. I knew that I always wanted to go into litigation, and I ended up going to something that is litigation related. It's government investigation work, and it's a lot more special in the sense that it's more hush-hush. And the processes of how you do things is a little different than just litigation in general. And I think that it's a big misconception, like you have to know before you go to law school what you want to do, and that's just not true. I mean, with anything, you can kind of just figure out your path, and it doesn't even necessarily need to be set in stone by the time you graduate. It can just be like you enter one field, you realize you don't like it. Like, I think what's not communicated enough is that things are more malleable than they seem. And although people come to you and they will say, I always knew I wanted to do litigation work, I always knew I wanted to do transactional work, or I figured it out at this point or at this point, everyone's journey is different, and I can't emphasize that enough. I knew that I wanted to go into something litigation related, but I didn't know what that meant until I worked and until I got some more hands-on experience. And again, this may even change even further down the line. And I'm going into it with that kind of mindset, like whatever speaks to me, I just go towards it kind of thing. You do not need to know what type of law you want to practice by any means before going into law school. If you do know, good for you. You know, that's great. You have a little bit more definition to your path. But again, things can always change. Life happens. You just never know. So I learned a lot in that sphere. Met a lot of amazing people. And it's kind of like had more of a vision of what I wanted my life to look like after this past summer. So very excited to go into this next summer. Excited to be done with law school in general. Like I haven't been on here for a reason, and that's because my whole life has been law school. And I just knew I'd be like, okay, I'm going to be one of those people that gives information consistently in, whether that is specifically about law school or law school news or whatever, I'm going to provide it consistently. I was wrong. This stuff is hard. It takes up so much of your time, and the type of content I was trying to create takes up a lot of my time. And so I went ghost. I don't say that it's what you are supposed to do. I felt bad for going ghost. I've been feeling bad. I keep saying I'm going to make videos, and then things just keep happening and happening and happening. But I say all that to say, law school is very difficult. 1 year was extremely difficult. I'll tell you how it was difficult. Time management, very difficult. That's why I do say that if you worked prior to law school, it is beneficial in the sense that you have a grasp at what time management really means and what it means to juggle things and prioritize things and how to properly prioritize things. Because I mean, law school is just a ton of reading. I made a video about like how to prep for law school, read, get used to reading. I can't emphasize that enough. Get used to reading, because you will be reading. Now, I say that to say, if you are someone that is an avid reader, don't lose that because of law school. I'm an avid reader. I read a good amount. Like I'll read a book in a day. But you can't let law school deter you from things that you are used to doing, that you enjoy doing. Like for me, I love true crime. I love watching crime shows. I love reading. And law school kind of deterred me in a sense because it reminded me of law school all the time. Like, even reading something that was fictional, it was just like, oh, I'm reading again. Like, just words exhausted me. Like, don't let it deter you. Still find time to do things that you've always enjoyed. If you never were an avid reader, fine, you can still do law school. I don't think you have to love reading to do law school, but I want to emphasize that you have to be prepared to read. And when I say that, I mean, like, for one class alone, you'll get 35, 40 pages assigned to you just for one class. And you take 4 or 5 classes, and I'm a 2L now. So you know, the amount of classes you take varies based off of, you know, your load and what you decide to put on your load. But, you know, I'll tell you right now, my first semester of 2L, I had one class. I was easily reading 40 pages a class for that. And I had that class 3 times a week. Then I had another class. I was easily only reading 10 pages or 15 pages. And you're like, 15? I'm like, look, talk to a law student. I have 15 pages of reading. And I had that class 3 times a week. So probably a total of like, you know, 45 pages. But like one class was like 40 pages for one day. So a total, that class for 3 times a week, that was around 120 pages I was reading a week for that class. So like easily 30 pages, 40 pages a week, you're doing good. Life is good. You got time. And as a law student after 1L year, you do learn how to skim. I think that's kind of honestly crucial because you will like have no free time if you don't know how to read the important things. And I say that to say, like, you still have to have a good attention to detail. I mean, everything is important, but at the same time, not everything is important. Some things are red herrings, some things are redundant. I mean, if you read any opinion, it's going to be a judge repeating themselves 4 or 5 times. My 1L year, I learned about how important my health was. And I'm just saying, like, mental health. I'm saying general health. I was eating like crap all the time. Like, bagel bites, just microwave food. I was eating a ton of microwave food because I needed things quick. I didn't want to take the time to make something that was going to take me 30, 45 minutes. And I'm like, those 30 minutes I could have read. That's what law school would do to you. You will be sitting up there. 30 minutes will be that crucial to you. My books were always closed by 10. I'm not reading past 10 o'clock. I don't care what's going on. I can't even digest anything past 10 o'clock. I'm not reading past 10 o'clock. So what did that mean? I had to get everything done before 10 o'clock. And so cooking a 45-minute dinner, and dinner doesn't even have to be 45 minutes. Cooking a 20-minute dinner just wasn't cohesive for me for some reason. And as a result, my health very much declined. I prioritized eating better and working out literally at the end of my 1L. I appreciate the fact that I did something about it, even if it was later rather than sooner, because I have managed to be consistent. I am tired of law school. I'm tired of being here. I'm tired of doing this. But at the same time, I don't feel necessarily as exhausted. It's more so I'm just tired of law school, but I'm not burnt out by law school. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying to make it make sense, but hopefully that makes sense. Another thing, as you know, that bleeds into this health sphere that I learned about law school, my 1L, was, you know, get an iPad if you can afford it. And if teachers will allow you to have it, because books, like law books, are very heavy textbooks and they kill your back. I mean, I was in the doctor because I had strained my back probably twice, and the stress I was under, and again, the lack of taking care of myself, that was just becoming hyperextended, and my back was just like, I couldn't move. So I got rid of majority of my textbooks that I could and pretty much transferred stuff on my iPad, like I said, like that I could. There were professors that had a very strict no technology policy, and I just couldn't get around them. But I utilized my locker. So one thing that I started doing was scanning my textbooks or finding some online version of it and having it on my iPad. So then I take that with me home, and I keep the textbook at school because I need the textbook for class. And if necessary, like if I knew I was on call, I would just transfer my highlights from my iPad to the textbook. So that way, when I had the textbook in front of me in class, I had my notes and my highlights in there, along with my type notes. I always typed my notes. I never just book briefed, as some of you may have heard about. I never did that. I don't think I'll ever book a brief. I'll always type up my notes. 1L or not, a lot I learned this prior year was that you can only do your best. I mean, I was killing myself. In reality, I didn't need to. I mean, you can still do your best and not kill yourself. I think that was like my biggest takeaway from 1L. Like, all you can do is leave everything on the court, and as long as you walk away knowing I gave my all, it's enough. Why cripple yourself? Why? Like, I was burnt out. My first semester of 1L, I was burnt out. I was crying all the time. I was always stressed out. I was burnt out, and it was just not sustainable. Anyone that like lives like that is like, you can't live like that. Like, you're going to have diseases. You're going to have high blood pressure. You're going to have all these problems. And going into law in general, it is a stressful field. You have to learn how to manage that stress. If you don't, you're going to cripple yourself. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I'm not perfect. I'm not going to kill myself over something, because, I have only such limited time on this planet anyways. I might as well just give my best and enjoy life as much as possible. I chose this path because I wanted to be on this path. I wanted to be an attorney for X reasons. I keep those reasons in the forefront of my mind, and I'm like, and I will give my best because of those reasons, but I'm not going to kill myself over this. I'm just not going to do it, and no one should. I learned that I had a great support system. I mean, I kind of always knew that I had a great support system, but what was beautiful was my support system growing. That was a beautiful thing, and it continues to grow. And I think that's a really exciting thing about any type of progression in your life, whether you decide to go back to school or change careers or just work on yourself in general. You'll build a support system throughout, and you'll just meet amazing people throughout. And honestly, that's priceless. Not to sound too corny, but that's the truth. You meet so many amazing people during this process of growth that you yourself just grow naturally. And now I'm in the second semester of 2L. First semester of 2L was hard, not because of the classwork, but because I just did too much. I signed up for too much stuff, to be honest with you. I'm juggling a million things. 2L is harder because you do have more freedom in your schedule, but you'll look up and you just pack up your schedule. Especially if, like me, like you're like, oh no, but I can help out here and I can help out there and I can help out here. And you look up and you're like, I'm doing way too much. So for me, it definitely was beneficial. I'm glad that I did all the things that I did, but it did exhaust me towards the point when I was at finals time. Like, I just want to get out of here. I just want to go home. So far, what I've learned 2L is just implementing the things that I learned 1L, honestly. Just learning how to be a less stressed person, a more grateful person, and a more patient person, not just with people, but like just with myself. Just being more patient with myself, being more loving towards myself. I will do my best to report the news, report my insights, give y'all what I'm going through as best as I can, getting a little bit more active on my social media again. Follow that if you're not already following it. Which shows more of kind of day in the life things, or like, tips that I feel are a little bit more streamlined for social media than for YouTube. But, as always, peace, guys.